All right. So I think I made my point pretty clear. And I think I made my opinion. I expressed it pretty well in the last video about this. But I'll just regurgitate a shorter version of my opinion now, in case you missed last video. In the last video, I was talking about YouTube's new AI age verification system. And my opinion on it was it's a bad idea, right? It's a bad idea. And I said that companies should not be responsible for keeping an eye on the parent's child. The parent should be the one responsible for keeping an eye on the kid. Got that out the way, okay? That's what I think. That's what I think. At least, I'm just the messenger. I just got it. I'm just the messenger here. You can't shoot the messenger, but that's just my opinion. Okay, I think the parent who chose to bring the child to this world should be responsible for the kid. Is that crazy to say? Maybe it is. Maybe it is for somebody. But for me and for my parents, for my family, that makes sense. Now, I'm going to go over what's going on in the UK with this new law that is requiring people to, well, adults, to, dig in their wallets for their IDs and their credit cards. Fun stuff, I'm telling you. And, give all that information to the government. Which, I mean, we already do, but, well, not we. I don't live in the United Kingdom, but I'm going to go over it. So, again, this is kind of similar to what's going on with YouTube and its new AI age verification system. But instead of just one platform being affected by it, it's the whole internet. The whole internet. In the UK, if you are in the UK right now, you are probably being affected by this, unless you're using a VPN. Which, by the way, apparently VPN usage skyrocketed. I mean, skyrocketed through the roof as soon as this law was implemented. So that's interesting. So the Online Safety Act, which took effect on July 2025, requires online platforms in the UK to implement age verification measures. This law is designed to protect children and young people from accessing content that may be harmful, particularly adult material. So again, they're using the children. I mean, I don't want to say that's an excuse, but they have this same structure. We got to protect those kids. There's a lot of bad stuff on the internet. I agree with that. There we go. We agree on something. Okay, we agree on something. Um, but again, restricting everybody's access to the internet, not just the kids, everyone's access to the internet. Now let's slow down there and let's read a little bit more into that, right? So, websites that host adult content must ensure that users are over 18 before granting access. This includes various platforms where such content may be found. I can already think of some. Reddit, Twitter, maybe Blue Sky. And you know what? I'm really fine with that. I don't think anybody should be on Twitter or sorry, X. And Reddit. I mean, most of the time when I use Reddit, it's for something helpful to answer a question that I have or just to get some help. But there's also some bad stuff on there. So users may need to provide proof of age through government issued IDs, facial recognition technology, or again, credit card information. Ooh. The UK's communications regulator, Ofcom, will oversee compliance. Platforms that do not implement adequate age checks could face penalties, including fines or restrictions on access in the UK. Since the law's implementation, there has been a notable increase in age verification checks on UK based websites. So obviously, there are there's a lot of implications and concerns with this. Um, Again, there are privacy and security risks, such as the handling of all of this sensitive, very important data. So critics express concerns about privacy as users must share personal information. There are worries about how this data will be stored and protected, as always, and also the ineffectiveness of verification. So, apparently, some users have found ways to bypass these age checks, raising questions about the law's effectiveness. So, I've actually seen this firsthand. Well, no, hold on, secondhand, because I saw a video on it, a TikTok to be more specific, where someone used a video game character's face to get past the facial recognition software. Also, the impact on free expression. So, the law has faced criticism for potentially limiting free speech online. Some platforms have chosen to restrict access to certain content rather than comply with the new regulations. So, of course, free speech, right? That's important. But with this new law implemented, that may be, maybe crashing. It may crash into each other. There's going to be some conflict between that new law and freedom of speech, of course. And if you think you're safe just because you're somewhere like the United States, maybe, well, you're not, buddy. All right. So the UK is part of a broader trend with similar laws being considered in other countries. Okay. Reflecting a growing focus on age verification on the internet. As I said in the beginning, I gave my opinion on this. I think this is just a bad idea overall. There's so many things that could go wrong with this, and I actually I think the premise of it, which is just restricting the children from seeing bad things on the internet and having bad experiences on the internet. I think that premise is a good thing that we're trying to prevent that. Okay, I like that we're trying to prevent that. Okay, I like to keep children safe. That's just obvious. All right, they're one of the most vulnerable groups of people. Um, but this is just not the way to do it. All right. And as I said before, I like when, companies and governments give the parents tools to help the parents. Sorry. I think we should continue um, on that way where we give the parents a little bit more ease of, you know, keeping an eye on their kid online. I think that's a good idea. I think that's a good thing. Giving the parents tools to be responsible easily, all right, or easier to keep an eye out on their kids. Is that a crazy thing to say? I don't know. Maybe we're living in this time right now, but maybe in like 10 years, that's going to be a crazy thing to say. Who knows? But yeah, you already know my opinion on this. It's a bad idea. Give parents the tools to be responsible for their own kids. And with that, that's all I wanted to talk about today. Stay friendly, stay you, take care of yourself. Peace.